This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for starting your day and your week with us here on WKYT This Morning. I'm Andrea Walker.
And I'm Bill Bryant. Certainly hope you had a great weekend. A lot of us were out and about, and it was interesting out there, you know, a couple of hot days.
That's right.
And our time right now is 6 a.m.
Police are looking for 2 people after a late-night robbery in Lexington.
Also, afternoon storms created some problems across the Bluegrass, and we're going to be checking in on that, a real problem up in Cincinnati.
And if you're a fan of Jordan Smith, you're in luck. Find out ahead on WKYT This Morning why that is.
All right, so the late summer heat continues, but then we're about to flip the calendar to September.
It's going to be nice, too.
Yeah.
Super nice. Once we get to the end of the week, not today, of course. We're going to be dealing with more heat and humidity out there for the most part. Let's take a look outside. You can see off in the distance, well, maybe not see off in the distance. We're starting to see a little more of that fog trying to settle in here in Lexington. So what would be a crystal clear shot back toward downtown, not as crystal clear here this morning with the moisture we had around here yesterday and that level of humidity and a temperature of 70 degrees right now here in Lexington area. So certainly a warm start to the morning. Later today we'll probably get into the low 90s for daytime highs. I will track that hour by hour right into Kentucky coming up in just a few minutes, guys.
And we'll see you in just a bit. Thank you. Well, you know, those afternoon storms yesterday, they sudden as they were with all those downpours, caused some damage and some problems around Lexington.
We received several reports of high water and downed trees on the north side of town. One of the areas hit hardest was Masterson Station. Some drivers told us they were forced to pull over because it was raining so hard they couldn't see the roads. Lexington police blocked off portions of Citation Boulevard because of the heavy rain. That left standing water. Luckily, they said the storms did not cause any major problems.
Officials say several schools in parts of northern Kentucky and in the Cincinnati area will have to be closed today after the area was hit by major flooding in yesterday's round of storms. A lot more rain there. Meteorologists say around 3 to 5 inches of rain fell in just a few hours in northern Kentucky. Police were even forced to shut down Interstate 71 for about an hour because of the high water. And Duke Energy on the Cincinnati side is reporting more than 13,000 customers were without power at one point. At last check this morning, no injuries have been reported from the flooding. And remember, you can always track the latest forecast and updated news. WKYT's Weather Plus Traffic app is available for you. Download the app for free in the App or Google Play stores.
Lexington police are searching for 2 people responsible for a late-night armed robbery.
That happened last night just after 11 o'clock on Laredo Drive off Reading Road and Lansdowne Drive. A guy was getting home from work. WKYT's Victor Puente joining us live now with more on the investigation into that. Victor?
Good morning. Lexington police are still looking for the 2 men who committed that robbery. They tell us the victim had just gotten home when they approached him. It happened on Laredo Drive last night just after 11. Lexington police say the victim was getting out of his car when 2 men walked up to him armed with handguns. They told him to give them his wallet. He did, and then police say they ran to a neighboring park. They say both men were wearing skull masks that covered their faces. Police brought out a K9 to try to track the 2 men, but they weren't able to find them. It's possible they had a car waiting. Police say a second caller told them they heard a car speeding away from that area shortly after that robbery. Now, the victim wasn't hurt, but the men did get away with some cash, his credit cards, and his ID. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. Community members are still mourning the loss of a Scott County teenager this morning. Kentucky State Police say 15-year-old Morgan Penn was at a sleepover in Stamping Ground when bullets fired from outside the home struck and killed her. Troopers have since charged Michael Davidson with Penn's murder. Last night, the Stamping Ground community held a vigil for Penn. Many of her friends were still at a loss for words over her sudden death.
I didn't understand. All day yesterday, I just kind of talked to some friends and tried to understand what was going on, and then I got like 3 hours of sleep. I can't sleep. I feel like I'm gonna puke every time I eat.
Penn's visitation will be held Wednesday at Tucker, Yoakum, and Wilson Funeral Home in Georgetown. Her funeral will be held the following morning, also at that funeral home. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help Penn's family cover funeral expenses. If you would like to donate, you can find a link to that page on WKYT.com.
Investigators believe that slowed traffic, along with a wet road and a rough situation with storms rolling through, may have led to a deadly crash on Interstate 75 in Madison County. Troopers say David McDowell was involved in a chain reaction crash near mile marker 87 in Richmond while riding his motorcycle. They say McDowell was heading south with another rider when they hit the back of a car in slow-moving traffic. Troopers say they were working at least 2 other crashes in the area at the time. No other injuries have been reported from that.
A coal worker found a human leg bone in Indiana. Investigators say a worker operating an elevated crane in a coal yard in Madison, Indiana, discovered the leg on the riverbank near the Ohio River. Now, police aren't sure how long the leg was in the water or where it came from. The Jefferson County Coroner's Office will complete DNA testing on the remains to see if they match any missing persons.
Federal investigators are now looking into a computer virus that is affecting some hospitals in eastern Kentucky and West Virginia. An ARH spokesperson says they are dealing with technical complications. And as of right now, the ARH system of hospitals are operating under their emergency operations plan. The computer virus has limited the hospital's use of electronic web-based services and electronic communications. All of their computers are now shut down to avoid spreading the virus. And patients who plan on visiting a physician are being told to bring all of their prescribed medications to their appointments until further notice.
All right, attention all you Jordan Smith fans out there. You are in luck. The Voice winner and Kentucky native is releasing some new tour dates. Smith tweeted that he's added more stops to his Something Beautiful tour. One of his stops will bring him back to the Bluegrass. Smith will perform in Louisville at the Brown Theater October 25th. Tickets are already available for that concert. Prices start at $25.
Well, she has recorded more than 40 albums and owns a theme park with her name on it. And now country music icon Dolly Parton will be featured on a special order Tennessee license plate. The plate features a picture of Dolly herself, and it promotes her Imagination Library, the iconic singer's mobile library services that provide free books to kids who are 5 and under all across the state as well as in parts of the U.S. The license plate costs $35. It is $15 of that will go to benefit the Imagination Library. Now, unfortunately, the plate is only available to drivers with a vehicle that is registered in Tennessee. But there you go, a nice-looking plate with the great Dolly Parton.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
Bill's about to go buy some property in Tennessee, so he'll have an address to get that plate. That's what he's going to do. He loves Dolly. Temperatures out there this morning, upper 60s, low 70s, across Kentucky. Not a bad looking start to the work week out there until we get into the afternoon and evening. So the starting point's fine. It's just where you end up during the afternoon today that's going to be a little bit worse, with the highs right around 90 degrees with all that steam around. Hour by hour run of the heat index shows you exactly where we're going with those upper 90s, maybe close to the century mark with what it feels like outside. So a good concentration of heat and humidity getting together again across Kentucky here, making for a nasty little run in the starting days of the work week today and also tomorrow, you can see. But notice a trend. We start off on the tropical side today, and then we start to drop our humidity levels just a little bit. Still very uncomfortable on Tuesday, but into the middle of the week it changes even more, and beyond that it will go all the way down to this level, the pleasant level. Get to that green line and you know you are living right when you can get to that spot, and we will. This morning on Defender Radar Network, no showers and thunderstorms showing up anywhere across the area. Yesterday had plenty of action here in central Kentucky, southern and eastern Kentucky as well. We'll probably run into a few isolated showers and thunder showers. You see them popping up here later on today during the peak heating of the day, of course. So we run into that chance, and then we kind of just wait for an organized shot of rain. Isolated chances again on Tuesday. We've got a frontal boundary just to our north that's going to be sweeping into Kentucky and across the Commonwealth that's going to change everything up for us. So once it gets here, it drives rain through the area, but then behind it, the fall-like air will appear. Humidity drops significantly. We're talking dew points into the 50s, which is where you want to be with dew point temperatures, especially this time of year. Highs 5 to 7 degrees below normal, and that drives us into the upper 70s and also into the low 80s. The weekend could also be impacted by this. Tropical depression number 9 as we're watching it develop and continue to bring showers and thunderstorms across Cuba. Some of the models have it really rolling across the southeast, of course, but the bulk of it now pushing back across Florida still could throw some moisture and kind of cause a little blockade in the atmosphere for us. So it's something we'll have to watch very closely here in the coming days. I don't think it's going to have a major impact on raininess around here, but it will certainly change some things up at least a little as well. But at this point, the weekend is looking fantastic. Just have to get through the middle of the week, guys.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
It's going to be
Looks
wonderful.
good.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, September, often a great month, weather-wise.
This is where it should be.
Yeah, you got it. All right, Jim, thank you. Our time this morning is 6:10.
Each morning we bring you weather and traffic together.
Let's go check in on Officer Don with a look at what's happening out there on the roads. Hey, good morning, Don.
Things from Nicholasville Road. And so far, we're still going to inner and outer loops of Man of War and inbound Nicholasville Road past Man of War. Just one click of the light to get through. As far as getting a look outside, overall traffic views in pretty good shape. No major delays there. And it looks like we're even in good shape across the Clays Ferry Bridge on 75 southbound for the most part this morning. Don't forget, we still have that lane blockage on the turn lane inbound Nicholasville Road approaching Man of War. But Main and Broadway, courtesy Lexington and Fayette Urban County Government, in good shape this morning. Beautiful view there, and we'll keep you up to date throughout the morning. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay, things are starting to pick up out there, and yeah, that situation at Man of War and Nicholasville Road, keep an eye on that.
Something
right?
to be aware of this morning.
It's going to get busy as the traffic picks up here. 6:11, our time on WKYT on your Monday morning.
Still to come, false reports of an active shooter sent hundreds of travelers running from the Los Angeles International Airport last night. Welcome back to WKYT this morning. We are at 6:15 on your Monday.
And with a little fog rolling in parts of the area. We're in the 70s for the most part, so a good start to the day. It's going to be a hot one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Now to your news. Los Angeles International Airport was briefly evacuated overnight as authorities investigated a reported shooting.
A big scare there. Several people inside the airport took to social media describing shots fired and police rushing to the scene. Airport police later said the incident proved to be only loud noises and that no shooting actually occurred. Donald Trump is preparing a major speech on immigration in Arizona on Wednesday. He's continuing to reach out to minority voters as well. Yesterday, Trump's running mate, Mike Pence, downplayed speculation that the Republican candidate is softening his stance on the immigration issue, as well as the idea of creating a deportation force to deal with those who are here in the U.S. illegally. Recent polls nationwide indicate that Trump is trailing behind rival Hillary Clinton, also behind in several key states.
San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick says he'll continue to sit during the national anthem throughout the NFL season. Kaepernick explained his decision at a press conference yesterday, calling the move a response to what he calls racial injustice in America. The 28-year-old has come under fire ever since he refused to stand during Friday night's preseason game. 2 men are dead and several others were injured after a bus carrying flood recovery workers from New Orleans to Baton Rouge crashed into a fire truck and 3 other vehicles on Louisiana Highway yesterday. Louisiana State Police say the bus driver was a 37-year-old Honduran man who entered the U.S. illegally and does not have a commercial license. He's expected to be charged with 2 counts of negligent homicide. South Florida is bracing for possible flooding. A system that could become a tropical storm is threatening the region with heavy rain. The storm could hit the same Miami area struggling to contain the Zika virus. Health officials confirm 42 people have contracted the Zika virus from local mosquitoes. Those mosquitoes can breed in very tiny amounts of water. Officials want to make sure pooling water from floods doesn't turn into a widespread breeding ground for those mosquitoes. They say property owners could face a $1,000 fine for not getting rid of pools of standing water.
The time is 6:17 on WKYT this morning. U.S. states have a massive shortfall in the retirement system, and Kentucky is among the worst. The Pew Charitable Trust puts the number at over $1 trillion. 47 out of 50 states have not set aside enough money to meet their retirement obligations. And Kentucky, Illinois, and New Jersey are the states with the greatest shortfalls. Consumer sentiment worsened for the 3rd straight month in August. The Consumer Sentiment Index fell to 89.8. That's down from an even 90 last month. Younger consumers are especially discouraged, reporting small income gains and higher expenses. Word this morning there's an important food recall recall to tell you about. Country Fresh is recalling 30,000 cases of fresh-cut vegetable products because of possible listeria contamination. The veggies were shipped to several stores in the southeast, including Walmart's here in Kentucky. Now, no illnesses have been reported. You can find a list of all the recalled items on the FDA's website. We'll link that at WKYT.com as well. The merger of the world's largest brewers will lead to more than 5,000 job cuts. Anheuser-Busch InBev will cut 3% of its global workforce after merging with SAB Miller. The combined brewing behemoth will sell roughly 30% of the world's beer. And here's a question for you. How does a shorter work week sound to you? Well, the Washington Post is reporting this morning that Amazon will soon experiment with a 30-hour work week. It's a pilot program which will have a small team working a shorter week. Instead of the 9 to 5, a few dozen people will work Monday through Thursday, and only from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Many other companies now offer a 4-day work week as well, but still require 40 hours of work. So it'll be interesting to see what they find out there with that Amazon experiment.
Don't know too many people that would complain about that one.
Exactly.
WKYT This Morning is just getting started. Still to come, an American took home gold during this weekend's World Air Guitar Championship, the one-of-a-kind competition, when we return.
And we are going to be dealing with more steam today, but toward the end of the week, it's a completely different weather world. I will track it for you. Coming up.
Welcome back to WKYT This Morning. The time now is 6:23 on your Monday.
Rise and shine.
That's right. Lexington police are searching for 2 masked robbers involved in a late-night robbery.
And that's what's trending at this hour. This happened just after 11 o'clock on Laredo Drive off Reading Road and Lansdowne Drive. Police say 2 men stole the victim's cash, his credit cards, and ID just as he was getting home from work. K-9 units were brought in to search for the suspects overnight. They were not able to locate them. Police say the victim was not injured in that.
Several schools are closed around Cincinnati this morning after the area was hit hard by flooding yesterday. Duke Energy reports over 13,000 customers were without power at one point. At last check, no injuries were reported. Minor flooding also caused a few streets to close here in Lexington. Luckily, Lexington police say the afternoon storms did not cause any major issues.
The rain has let up for now, but we are anticipating a steamy day ahead. Here's meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
And here are the headlines. Steam with storms, as you just said, with high heat index early this week. We'll likely have maybe upper 90s, close to 100 degrees to start things off, and then we'll watch that kind of rapidly change as we are going toward a late week pattern flip where we get rid of the heat and humidity and things look a whole lot better at that point. Right now, upper 60s, low 70s are showing up all over the place, with even a few mid 60s like Danville and also down towards Somerset. So a decent start to the day. Visibilities are down in some cases, as we do have some fog that has settled in here over the past couple of hours. So we are talking about the heat and humidity sticking around today, tomorrow, and even into parts of Wednesday. But the thing about it is, it's not going to be with us much longer. We are going to watch it get crushed and kicked out of here, at least for a little while, as we go rolling toward Labor Day weekend. Guys, what better weekend for it to come, a little taste of fall, than Labor Day weekend, of course, right?
I mean, it works out just as the calendar changes over. Yeah.
I know. Isn't that interesting? Mother Nature is on it this year.
Exactly. Maybe it'll work out and be a very pleasant fall here in the Commonwealth. That would be nice.
That would be. All right, this next story is like a scene out of a movie. 2 stranded mariners were rescued from a deserted island over the weekend after a U.S. Navy aircraft spotted SOS etched in the sand.
Knew they had to do something. The survivors were marooned for 8 days on a beach in Micronesia in the western Pacific Ocean. They had limited supplies and no emergency equipment. The Coast Guard says the 2 people were on an 18-foot vessel that had been missing since August 19th. Aircraft and boat patrol searched more than 16,000 square miles before the castaways were finally spotted.
That is amazing.
Modern-day Gilligan's Island crew, but this
there
time
you go.
It ends well.
It was pretty, but I guess you wouldn't want to stay there forever. Well, the Olympic Games may be over, but one American brought home a gold medal for being a great pretender.
Matt Aristotle Burns won the World Air Guitar Championship in Finland over the weekend. There he is with all the moves. Burns placed second in the competition for the last 3 years. But this year he pretended to be rocked out better than the rest, and it brought home the gold.
And I'm just pretty stoked. This is an Olympic year, so to bring the gold back to my country this year, it's really special.
Another American also placed in the competition. That is Nicole Mom Jeans Jeannie with all her moves. She finished in third and brought home the bronze, also making America proud. What about that?
They look like they're having a good time. Like you said, that one guy about threw his neck out.
You'll say
He deserved that gold medal.
he may be in a neck brace a couple of days.
No.
I don't know. Look at her. She's moving and grooving too,
Yes,
right?
she was.
All
Well,
right.
the time now is 6:26 on your Monday when WKYT returns this morning. A new form of transportation is now available in Bowling Green. Find out more at 6:30.
We'll tell you about that. All of our top stories are on the way. Tomorrow's Mega Millions is $84 million. Wednesday's Powerball jackpot is $154 million. Keep it right here on WKYT this morning.